Hey, good Wednesday morning and happy early Thanksgiving to all of you. Welcome to this week's episode of Winter Weather Wednesday, and it's not going to be one that you want to miss with one of the colder starts to December that we've seen in really quite some time. And I think that the pattern ahead is certainly for winter lovers interesting. Maybe not super snowy at first, but I think that that could change towards the holidays. And I think it's going to be critical to keep up with these outlooks here, guys, as we work over the next several weeks, because in the past several years we really haven't even had any cold to factor in to the outlook into December. And so that's a new thing compared to the last several years that we're going to be monitoring very carefully ahead. Guys, if you're not a current Clarity subscriber, be sure to tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Our annual Black Friday sale will go into effect. 40% off from tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. through Cyber Monday. That will include both our starter and Pro Clarity subscriptions, where you can get videos like this every single day, Monday through Friday. We'll update all of our weekly outlooks, our monthly outlooks, our seasonal outlooks. You can know exactly what to expect in the extended range pattern, and of course, all of your local short-term forecasts as well. So be sure to sign up tomorrow, 6 p.m., 40% off of our Clarity platform. We'll put the link here in the comments. So let's get into the forecast today, guys. And let's take a look here, and we will start out with our November 27th to 24th, our key notes here. It's going to be, as I mentioned, one of the colder starts of December in recent memory. In fact, we looked around some of the cities, Cincinnati, Louisville, Indy. Some of those areas could rival the coldest start since back in 2010. So 14 years since we've seen this much cold air the first week to 10 days of December. And it's going to lead to big lake effect snows. The lake is very warm. It's not going to take a lot of cold air to really ramp up the lake effect machine moving forward. As I mentioned before, cold, but maybe not very snowy the first half of December, but perhaps better chances towards the holidays. We'll chat about that. And then we'll chat about new overall analogs for winter and what the current polar vortex setup looks like. Before we get to that, real quick, a little weak Thanksgiving system tonight that we will deal with. Some light slushy snow possibly mixing in with rain across parts of the I-70 corridor in the Ohio Valley. Not expecting it to pack a big punch. If anything, over the past 24 hours, data has trended weaker with it, which means that we don't have as much dynamical cooling, which means that we don't see as much of the rain change over to snow. So this turquoise area will be the best area that could potentially see some slushy impacts, a half an inch to an inch of some snow. Outside of that, probably some big wet snowflakes in there, mixing with rain. Not expecting major impacts as things stand right now. Again, in the Clarity platform, our guys will be updating, our guys and gals, I should say, will be updating the forecast throughout the day-to-day for that. In terms of the lake effect, take a look at this, guys. Next 7 days on our future radar on Clarity, our future snow forecast, these darker green colors indicating the potential for more than 2 feet of snow in some of these areas in northeast Ohio, in western and northwestern Pennsylvania, western New York, even in northern parts of Michigan here, guys. Going to be a busy pattern for areas along the lake shores over the next 7 days. And if we take a look here, guys, just to kind of give you an idea, here's a look at the Thanksgiving system. This is throughout Thanksgiving Day. You can see some heavier snow possible in here in the interior northeast. As this exits, the colder air really bleeds in, and then look at the lake effect machine setup. This is Friday, and all the way as we go through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it just really never stops completely, guys. It's just going to be a very busy pattern here once we get past Thanksgiving. The next several days after that, a lot of lake effect snow opportunities going to be in the forecast. In terms of the overall pattern as we go throughout early December, here's a look at the upper level setup and the setup with the jet stream. We've got a big ridge of high pressure and warmth across the western U.S. It's going to pump that jet stream way up to the north, which means that what comes up must come back down. It dips in the eastern U.S., leads to a lot of cold air. Again, some notable cold air at times. Some notable wind chills, too. The issue is, because of how northerly this jet stream is, we're funneling in a lot of dry air from Canada across the eastern United States. You might be able to get some weaker lows and some clipper systems to kind of dive across the northern tier of the U.S. in here. But in terms of big storm systems, these big low pressure systems, they're going to form well off the East Coast, which means big winter storms. I just don't really see that in the forecast the first 10 to probably 15 days of December. You know, if you take a look at the week 2 precipitation forecast, the 4th to the 10th, it's drier than normal for a good part of the central and eastern part of the country. The main storm track is well to the north. This is where you can get some of those clipper systems and maybe some of the better snow opportunities ahead. South of that, again, I just don't see a big winter storm signal in the forecast. Taking a look at the next 10 days on the European and the GFS, both of them have this northern track here with the better snow chances in this particular region. South and west of that, not a big signal for big storms the next 10 days, but will be cold. It will be cold. Temperatures, in fact, the next 7 days averaging out 10 to 20 plus degrees below normal across the north central part of the country into the Canadian prairies, 5 to 10 degrees colder than normal for much of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and the East Coast. And the colder air hangs around east for a widespread area, 5 to 8 degrees below normal through the 10th of the month, which again is one of the colder starts we've had to December in quite some time. And as a comparison, just to make this note, here's a look at the last 10 Decembers. We've averaged out 3 degrees warmer than normal for a widespread part of the eastern United States. And so to be 5 to 8 degrees below normal this time of the year compared to the last 10 years is notable. It's not record breaking, don't get me wrong there. I'm not talking about the coldest December on record or anything like that. But it's going to feel colder than it has in quite some time because recent Decembers have just been warm. We had some cold in 22, 17, and 16, but in terms of extended cold, it's just been very hard to come by. Now, in terms of shifting up the pattern for better winter storm chances, I have my eye on the Pacific jet stream. Right now, Pacific jet stream is forecasted to be very, very strong, which floods the western U.S. with mild air. It helps pump up this ridge of high pressure here across the western part of the country. You can see that on the map, which allows for cold air to dive east, but again, your storm pattern is not super favorable. What we need to see happen is this ridge of high pressure retrograde west, so we need that Pacific jet stream to weaken, which will allow the cold to come west and for better storm chances to start to develop across the southern and eastern tier of the U.S. Looking out ahead, I'm starting to see some signals of that happening. You take a look at the Pacific jet stream out through about the 9th of the month, note how it only extends about to the Aleutian Islands rather than all the way to the coast. I would still like to see it kind of back towards Japan or Korea, but it's a start. It will take some time, but the signs are there that there could be a change down the road. Another thing is the background atmosphere. This is our Southern Oscillation Index. It's the difference in pressure between Darwin and Tahiti. It can give us a general idea of the atmosphere's feeling more La Nina-like or more El Nino-like. This is more La Nina-like, and in fact, we're strongly positive with the SOI right now. And there's only a number of years that have had this to start out December as of late. Taking a look at that, 2022, one of the years that had some cold in December. 2017, another year that had some cold in December. Not the whole month, but had some. But then you add in years like 2013, 2010, 2008, 2000, very cold years in here, and here's how they averaged out. And so the background atmosphere down the road would favor this colder air, maybe the core of it to set up more across the Midwest and the north central U.S., which would open the door for better storm chances down the line. It's going to take some time, guys. I wouldn't be shocked if it's not till the back half of December, if not even later, the last third of December. But there are some signs that it can happen down the road. Taking a look at some of the teleconnections for late December, you have our PNA, which is that western U.S. ridge. It's positive right now, strongly positive. It's forecasted to dip. That's a good thing. You don't want it to dip too much, but if we can get into a neutral state, it will allow that cold to pull back west. Our NAO is kind of generally neutral in here, guys, a little up and down, and the EPO generally stay negative. That's that warmth near Alaska. If we set up these teleconnections into late December, favors the core of the cold kind of through this area, which would at the very least open the door for more storm chances across the eastern part of the country. The polar vortex is also in a favorable position, and honestly to me this is one of the bigger deals because we haven't had this in a good position for a while. It's similar to 2013, which means the tap of cold air should remain in place. If we can keep this polar vortex to stay over the Hudson Bay in Greenland, When you do get storms, you're going to be able to tap into colder air to the north. There won't be a lack of cold air, and it should continue to favor colder than normal pattern. Given all of this, what I see is the last 10 to perhaps 15 days of the month may be a better snow pattern. Now, keep in mind, we're 20 plus days out from this happening. So we need to keep an eye on things very carefully. If we check back in 5 to 6 days and that jet stream is not weakening, might have to delay this more. Regardless, the first 15 plus days of December, not super favorable for big snows, but that could change late December. And regardless, I think that the pattern will be colder than normal. You take a look at our weeks 3 and 4 forecast, the 10th to the 23rd, it's a colder than normal pattern. I think it starts out warm west, cold east, with the colder air by week 4 kind of leading back west. And again, I think the later you go into the month, the better maybe chances that we'll see for some winter storms. I won't guarantee anything, but I will say that odds are better back half of December than first half of December. Taking a look at winter as a whole, I wanted to update this and give a little teaser for our updated winter outlook. Went through and just updated some overall oceanic analogs because La Nina is failing. It's looking to be very weak. Some of these years were still a weak La Nina, which you can kind of see in here. 2010 is one that skews it a little bit, 2010-11, but it was a very good Pacific Ocean analog, so I didn't want to completely rule it out. You can see the big features here. The warmth east of Asia, the cooler air off the west coast of the US, we have that, The AMO, some warmth in the North Atlantic here, and in the Southeast Atlantic. And then, of course, the cool Enso state. I wouldn't call it a La Nina, but a cool Enso state. You know, if we look at some of these overall analogs and we combine them here, guys, with our overall analogs, factored in some other things like the stratosphere, here's what winter pans out to look like. And I think it can be a winter with some ups and downs. Not necessarily a sustained cold pattern all winter, but especially early winter, maybe some cold shots of air. This is certainly a colder trend. The signals, if you're looking for cold and snow, are improving. I don't necessarily think that you're looking at a 2013-14 repeat or anything like that, but I do think that the door is open for more cold and snow opportunities than recent years. We've updated our winter outlook in the Clarity platform. If you're not a subscriber, again, be sure to take advantage of our 40% off Clarity discount starting tomorrow at 6 p.m. claritywx.com/sign up. That is where you can get our official winter outlook and all of our month-by-month outlook, so you can see what the season ahead is going to act like. And of course, all of our local forecast updates as well when we do have snow in the forecast. Guys, that's all I have for today's Winter Weather Wednesday. Thanks again for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll chat soon.